And also because you're not doing it, you're not feeling what Dana is feeling, which is more and more connection, right? That it doesn't have to, there's kind of like a suspended animation where it's about connection and not about who's going to win. Once there is connection, then you don't have to have winners and losers.
I'm ready to see it happen.
I hope so. We'll see.
So we were with autonomy, right? That you're really valuing autonomy.
Yeah.
And wanting a choice about how you express your passion and your concerns.
Right, to do what I think is the right thing to do.
Yeah, to have choice about how you express yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you can understand that, right? I mean,
I can understand it, but I have some concerns about the way you're expressing yourself. I'm wondering if you have space to hear that.
I'm willing to listen.
Should I go with it?
So what I hear in there is you have a window and it's not big. And the smaller the window, the more important it is that you say what's most important quickly. Instead of like trying to build a case, which will lose her in 2 seconds, it's like what is at the most heart of it for you?
That I want people to take us seriously.
Okay.
And I'm afraid how the media is going to portray this protest if you guys are, toppling over garbage cans and crashing windows.
And because she is also habituated to arguing, if you leave it like this, she will argue with you. Whereas I think what you want is to know if she's hearing you.
Yeah. So that's my concern. Do you hear what I'm saying? Can you tell me back what you hear me saying?
Yeah, I think that you're concerned about how it's going to look in the media.
Yeah, I mean, not just how it's going to look, but how it looks, and then how that'll impact how, we're perceived, and how, I mean, basically I want us to actually make a difference, and I want UC to get the message that this isn't okay. And I'm afraid that we're just not going to be taken seriously if you guys continue doing this.
Right. Well, and I'm afraid we're not going to be taken seriously if we don't, take some action here.
So now I want to fight.
Now you want to fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel heard.
Okay, because you said it a second time and you didn't ask her to reflect, and so then she went back to arguing.
Okay.
If you want to create the connection, then you navigate the conversation. Anytime you let go, she's going to pick it up in the familiar style.
Okay.
So you need to be really forceful here.
Okay.
Nothing about being nice. Just be really forceful.
Okay.
In what you want back from her that will move you towards connection.
Okay. So I'm really wanting to know that you're understanding what I'm saying. Would you be willing to say back what you've gotten so far about what's important to me?
Yeah, I think I'm understanding what you're saying. I think you're saying that this movement is going to be more effective if it looks a certain way in the media.
So I'd like to just clarify, like, what's underneath the
So
look.
you see, this is why it's so important, even though it's awkward and uncomfortable to ask people to reflect, it's so important because then we see when there's so much of a rift between you, it's unlikely that she will hear you the first time.
Yeah. Right.
So that this way you get the feedback and you can tell her, thank you, and now I see what needs to be clarified.
Okay. So thank you. I'd like to clarify what's underneath that concern about how we look to the media. Do you feel some openness to hearing?
Sure.
Okay. So what my real concern is that we actually impact, UC's decisions. And I'm afraid that they're just gonna, dismiss us if they see this kind of behavior. And I'm wondering now if you'd be willing to reflect back what you're hearing me say.
That you really want to impact the university's decisions, and you're afraid that that they're not going to take us seriously if they see certain kinds of behavior.
Yeah, thank you. And that then change won't happen.
So I want to pause because one word that I heard was very significant for me, and that word was us. In the reflection, she said they're not going to take us seriously rather than they're not going to take you seriously. So in a way, in that word, I'm hearing that some connection and togetherness has already been woven without even, did you notice that you said that?
No, I didn't, but
you see what I mean?
yeah.
So I want to pause here because I don't think that in the context of this show we can actually bring this to full resolution. I just am noting that in and through doing this, you got to hear her and feel more connected with her, and now you're getting to her to feel more connected with you, aren't you?
Yeah.
There is more of a sense of usness, and over time you're unlikely to turn this around in the moment, but over time you can come to a place of more connection where you possibly might strategize together. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I feel like the potential is there for more dialogue. It might not resolve itself in this interaction, but we can hash some things out.
I'm wondering if at the end of this you feel a tiny bit more respect for her.
Definitely, yeah.
She's no longer this wishy-washy, doesn't get anything.
Right. She's serious.
Yeah. Anything you want to say in conclusion?
Can I say something that I liked about what happened?
Yes.
Okay. I really appreciated your coaching around like making the request and like kind of staying in control of the conversation. It felt like it was connecting me with power.
Yeah, and I like that happens because there's such a myth that nonviolence is passive. And nonviolence can be so powerful, like you just felt. Anything that stands out to you?
I really appreciated that you pointed out the use of the word us. I mean, I wasn't even aware, but it did point to a real shift in how I was feeling.
Yeah. And from the point of view of the audience, is there anything you'd like to add?
I got those different things of holding the power and the shift versus the us. I had a little bit of nervousness around whether or not this conversation could really take place at this protest. So I would, if we were to do it again, I'd love to see how she might do it if she couldn't actually have the conversation.
Yes, if you can't have the conversation, it all turns internal.
Right.
It's how do you hold things that you don't even have access to changing inside yourself. And I bet anything that some of that will come up in my conversation with Michael after we take a break.
And that's just what I was going to say. I bet that we'll get more into some of those internal conflicts later. Meanwhile, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, Miki will be interviewing our special guest, Michael Nagler. Thanks.